This video will go through the answers to the Mendelian Genetics Worksheet 1. So in our first set of questions, we're given some information that tall is a dominant trait over the dwarf phenotype in pea plants. So for our first question, we have a cross between two homozygous tall plants. So homozygous means that they have two of the same. Tall we were told is dominant, so therefore both of those plants must have the genotype big T, big T. So we have a cross between a big T and another big T. Fill in that cross. Every single one of our offspring would be big T. So we would have a 100% chance of having tall offspring because that's the only possibility we have here. 0% chance of having dwarf offspring and a 0% chance of heterozygous, which means two different. There are none of those present here in the offspring. So now a cross between two heterozygous tall plants. Heterozygous meaning two different alleles. So that would make their genotype be big T, little t. And because tall is dominant, these ones having a big T allele would be tall. So there's our one heterozygous individual. There's our other heterozygous parent. We fill in our square with possibilities for the outcomes of our offspring. And looking at these, 3 out of the 4 have a big T would be tall. So 3 out of 4, that's 75% chance of having a tall offspring. 1 out of the 4 has only the recessive alleles, so it would end up being the dwarf phenotype. And probability of heterozygous, that's 2 out of the 4 here, or 50% heterozygous. A genotypic ratio, so we have 1 big T in our offspring, 2 big T, little t's, and 1 little t here. And our phenotypic ratio, 3 out of our 4 are tall, and 1 is the dwarf phenotype. So next, if we had a cross between a heterozygous parent and a dwarf homozygous parent. So the heterozygous parent has two different. They have to be big T, little t. The dwarf homozygous must be little t, because it's two of the same. They have the recessive allele here, so 2 of the recessive alleles. So we have big T and little t. Again, it doesn't matter which side which parent goes on. I could put the little t across the top and the big T, little t on the side. We're going to come up with the same outcome. It's just going to be slightly flipped, but same outcome for our offspring. So in this, 2 out of the 4 have a big T in them, so it end up with the tall phenotype because that's dominant. So 50% chance of having a tall offspring, a 50% chance the other 2 out of the 4 would end up with the dwarf phenotype. A 50% probability 2 out of the 4 are heterozygous, have a heterozygous genotype, and a genotypic ratio would be 2 big T, little t's to 2 little t's. And a phenotypic ratio, we would expect to see 2 tall for every 2 dwarf. So notice when I'm writing these ratios, I'm including labels that go with the numbers. I don't just write 2 to 2. Because that doesn't tell me whether I'm talking about a phenotype or a genotype. And it doesn't tell me what particular genotype or phenotype is associated with each of these numbers. So when you write ratios for genetics, make sure that you're writing labels along with each of the numbers so that it's clear what you're referring to. And finally here we have a cross between two dwarf plants. So dwarf is the recessive allele, so the only possible genotype they could have would be little t, because if they had at least one big T, then it would be a tall plant. So we have a little t crossed with another little t. We finish out that cross here. We have a 0% chance of having a tall offspring, a 100% chance of having a dwarf offspring, and a 0% chance of having a heterozygous offspring because there are no heterozygous possibilities in our square showing our potential offspring here. So now we have a different trait. We have hair in guinea pigs. In this one, short hair happens to be dominant and long hair happens to be recessive. So we have a heterozygous short-haired guinea pig. So heterozygous means they're two different, so that would have to be a heterozygous genotype. And homozygous long-haired. Homozygous means two of the same, and this long hair is recessive, so they have to be little h, or whatever letter we would choose to represent that. So here's my heterozygous parent, and here on the side I put my homozygous recessive parents. We could flip those if we wanted, will give us the same thing. Fill out our Punnett square, and the genotype of the short-haired parent that was what we were filling out up here. The genotype of the long-haired parent, that was what we figured out up here. A phenotypic ratio for our offspring. 2 out of these 4 have the dominant allele. In this case, the dominant allele is for short hair. So we would expect to see 2 short hair, and 2 out of the 4 just have the recessive allele, which in this case is the long hair. And our genotypic ratio, we have 2 big H little h to 2 little h. We're writing our genotypes with the letters of the alleles that represent those, or the alleles that represent those particular alleles. Now if we had heterozygous short-haired guinea pigs, both of them, heterozygous means two different, so big H little h, fill that in. So both parents had to be big H little h. The probability of having homozygous offspring. Well, we actually have 2 different homozygous offspring, but 2 out of the 4 are homozygous of one type or another, so 50%. Probability of there being heterozygous, that's the other 2 here, 50% again. A phenotypic ratio, we would expect to see 3 short hair, that's the dominant phenotype. That's these 3 here, for every 1 long hair. And our genotypic ratio, we would expect to see 1 big H, 2 big H little h's for every 1 little h. So we have a ratio of 3 here because there are 3 possible genotypes that show up in our Punnett square. And if both parents were homozygous long-haired, here long hair was the recessive trait, so their only possible genotype would be little h. So we fill in our Punnett square here. Both parents have to be little h. Percent probability of tall, long-haired offspring is 100. 0% heterozygous. Phenotypic ratio, we just have 4 long to 0 short. And genotypic ratio, 4 little h to 0. And we don't have to fill out anything with the 0 because it's any other possibility there. And 1 homozygous long-haired guinea pig. So homozygous long-haired, that's little h paired with a homozygous short parent. Homozygous means 2 of the same. Short hair in this case was dominant, so this has to be 2 of the dominant alleles. So that's this parent here. That's this parent here. So we'll fill those in. This is actually the cross that Mendel first did, where we had 2 pure breeding individuals crossed, and only the dominant trait will show up. So here the dominant trait is short-haired. All of these have at least one of the dominant allele. 100% of them would have that phenotype, and 0% of them would have the other phenotype. However, all of them are heterozygous. 100% of them are heterozygous. So our phenotypic ratio, we would have 4 short hairs to 0 of anything else. So we can say this, the only other possibility is long, so we can say 0 is long, 0 long there. And for genotypic ratio, we have 4 big H little h to 0 of any other possible genotypes. Now, we've seen in these questions that there's really only a few possible combinations that we can have. We can have 2 homozygous recessive crossed, 2 homozygous dominant cross, 2 heterozygotes crossed, or a homozygous recessive with a heterozygote, or a homozygous dominant with a heterozygote. So a limited number of possibilities. So once you start to do a few of these, you'll realize that there's only about 6 or 7 different possible answers you can have. You just change different traits. So thinking about that, now we can start to work backwards. So here we're given some information that long wings is dominant over short wings. This is in some type of insect. And you are given some information about the offspring and need to work backwards. So we're told that 50% long-winged, 25% homozygous long-winged, and 25% short-winged insects were found in one generation of offspring. So this is what our offspring looked like. So this 50%, 25%, 25%, this should look kind of familiar to one of the crosses that we've looked at before. This should look kind of like a ratio of 1 to 2 to 1 for genotypes that we've seen before. So the 50%, the heterozygous, we're using L's here. Kind of hard to tell the difference between capital and lowercase L's, but we'll fill those in. So we must have 2 that are big L, little l, 1 that is little l, and 1 that is big L, big L. That's my homozygous long-winged and my homozygous short-winged, respectively here. So there's the ratio that we have to end up with. We've seen a cross like this before. In fact, that showed up right here where we crossed 2 heterozygotes. It showed up when we were doing pea plants and we crossed 2 heterozygotes up here. So what we should recognize, we've seen this before, a 1 to 2 to 1 genotypic ratio. This has to have been 2 heterozygote parents that gave us this. Or we could work backwards and fill in the squares that one of my squares had to be little h, one of my, or little l, one of my squares had to be big L, and my other 2 squares had to be big L, little l. So that tells me that up above this column here, there had to be a little l. Outside of this row here, there had to be a little l. Up above this column, because the only thing in this square here is that big L's, had to be a big L. And outside of this row here had to be a big L, because the only thing in that square was big L, big L. So there we go. We figured out what our 2 parents were. We could do the same thing if we say 50% of a generation was short-winged. So short-winged we were told was recessive. So we have to have a ratio where 2 are little l, and we have 2 that, or if we're just going on, and we have 2 that are something else, right? We don't know that yet. So let's just fill that in. We know at least 2 of our squares have to be little l. So let me fill that in. 2 of my squares are little l. That tells me that this box and this box, or this parent had to be little l, because that's the only way we could get those here. And this parent had to have at least 1 little l here. Now, only 50% of them were short-winged. So if this other parent also had another little l here, then all of the offspring would have been little l, and that would be 100%. So that's not what we had happened. So the only other possibility is that this other parent had to have a big L here, which gave us big L, little l, and there we have the other 50% being long-winged, and that's what we were told showed up, that only 50% of them were short-winged. So one parent, doesn't matter which one's A, which one's B, one parent has to be big L, and the other parent has to be little l.